Hi, I'm Joshua Farley.
And I'm Marcus Soto.
And this is Inside Our Industry, where we share weekly insights on everything to do with the electric and solar industry, contracting, and best practices. These electricians have balls of steel.
It's like one of those things that maybe I would do, but definitely wouldn't have anybody else do it.
Totally OSHA approved, is strapped on all four corners.
Yeah, it is strapped around.
That scissor lift weighs a ton.
We did a job similar to this a few years back. We just had them drain the pool.
You have them drain the pool, and then you get the lift. You bring in the forklift or a fucking crane or whatever, and you drop the thing into the bottom, and now you're working at an angle using all-terrain vehicles that can work at an angle.
Yep.
Oh man, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd probably do it, but I take a lot more risks than I put on my team. I wouldn't ask my team to be in that situation. Just wouldn't be done. Like, there's just no point. And what are they doing? What are they doing?
Are they just looking at it right now? Like,
I think they're, you know what? Maybe this is testing those new floating devices, OSHA-approved floating devices. Maybe this is a new go-to-market. Hey, you got a facility. Sure, it's only going to come up every now and then. I've only had to work around an indoor pool once in my life.
So these guys are the sales company for the company that developed this floating device.
Right, if they don't test it, it can't be trusted, right?
They waterproof?
I love how they say these electricians have balls of steel. Listen, all electricians have balls of steel. Enhance. You understand? So that being said, this might not be electrical. All right, let's moving on. Homeless stealing electricity from city pole in Los Angeles. Okay, I mean, I've seen homeless people stealing copper and electrical shit. Like, we've seen that all the time. We were at a facility, we had to replace a gear, a 3,000 amp switch gear, because the homeless was in there gutting it and taking out the parts, the busing and the wires, and they missed a home run that was like, they had all the subfeeds to the panels were going on the exterior wall. Oh no, they pulled those out too.
Yeah, they pulled those out too. Yeah.
But inside the service, there was a flash of a guy's silhouette. You could tell, and his shoe was melted to the cut. Like he probably died. Sorry, I don't have this in my shirt.
I think they try to use a truck to pull all that.
It was like a chain. They used like a real big chain, a metal chain. Yeah. So the minute they got in there and it was like blowing, then there was the arc flash of the guy's silhouette, and it just went not a good spot. All right, so homeless stealing electrical from a city. Like, I think, what is he like trying to get his cell phone charged?
It's gonna be some like, oh, okay.
Like he's like up on a pole trying to wire in his extension cord to his tent.
I think he's at the bottom. I think he's at the bottom, trying to get it like into the pole.
All right, let's take a look.
Yep.
If this is a street light, there's power there all the time, and most of your street lights are 120. You'd be surprised how many street lights in the city are 120 volt. That's typically, especially through a neighborhood, they're not bringing in separate power for a neighborhood for lighting.
Right.
They're using the same system that's in that neighborhood. So if your house is 12208, your street light's 12208. And they don't have there's not a time clock somewhere that's monitoring it. That power's hot.
Yeah.
The only thing keeping that light from coming on is the photocell on top of the system itself.
Yeah, it was usually on the fixture.
We know a guy that has a light out in front of his house, and they like to hang outside.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to tell?
Yeah, and
so it's like backward switch.
Yeah, they like to hang out outside in their driveway, right? And there was a light across the street that they didn't necessarily want on while they had their fire pit going in their driveway.
Like the city lights. I mean, nobody likes to enjoy a city street light.
Right. They put a switch on the back side of this pole so that they could shut the city light off while they were in their driveway having their get-togethers and stuff. So,
but then they turn it back on, so later nobody knows. And So that's correct. So they can put a switch there, turn the power off, because what that does is it turns the power from going to the photocell, and the photocell knows if it's night or day, and it operates the light. So that's how the city power works. So there is power at the bottom of this pole, if it's a light pole, which I assume it is based on the bolt pattern and the situation. There's the access cover. Obviously, they got those off. They make tamper-proof ones of those. Actually, a good friend of mine owns Turn It On Electric here, based out of Phoenix. He invented he's got a patent on a product for that. So here's a shameless plug for you, Chad. I can't remember what it's called, but he invented a product to get in there to keep those fucking thieves from getting in there, because that's what they do. They find a screwdriver. A lot of these are just a fucking flathead
screwdriver.
Yeah. So they go in there and they get them, and then they start pulling wire out. And what costs thousands of dollars to redo, they go down to the scrapyard and get $50 or less, and buy $50 worth of crack or beer or whatever it is. It's fucking stupid.
I only see one wire going to this.
We had a thief steal our catalytic converter off of one of our trucks. Cost us $2,000 to replace. The guy probably got $50 for it. Like, just knock on my door and say, "Hey, can I have $50?" Or I'm gonna go out there and fucking
steal your catalytic converter.
I promise I will give you the $50 and nothing else will happen. He's in the mid. Maybe he got stopped in the middle of trying to steal the power.
Cop.
Yeah.
Is there electrical tape? He was trying to make it safe. You gotta make it safe.
Well, because you got a prong. You got those. You got those prongs. So you got your hot, your neutral, and your ground. Maybe. Yeah, it's got a ground in there. It's got a ground. So he's got 3 prongs out there. In essence, that ground and that neutral are derived from the same place. So it will complete the circuit. But that neutral is a current carrying conductor. So now this whole thing would be current carrying.
Now I got a question for you. I think this is an electrician. They got the electrical tape. Got all kinds of stuff plugged in right here. It's not like it's just a phone, right? And then there's an extension cord going this way. He's drilling into some concrete and needed some power.
I like to think it's a homeless guy.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look right. Like, I think of electrician as smarter.
Right.
More knowledgeable, MacGyverish, more capable, more handsome, more strong. All the things that electricians are. So when you think about an electrician... No, definitely not electrician. No. Yeah. You're an electrician. You should be smarter than this.
If I was going to do it, I would have put it in a receptacle.
Totally. Inside, so that every time I come to that facility, I can open it up and put it in, and then it'd be ready to go. All right. This is what burns from a 120 volt look like. In response to the posts about shocks, I still have numbness and pain in my arms, hands, was stuck on the wire for almost 60 seconds. Oof. Listen, electricity can fuck you up. Yeah. It can really do some damage. But there are scenarios where you can touch electricity safely. My father was an electrician. I've seen my father standing in a bucket of a lift on a 60-foot snorkel with overhead feeds, overhead risers coming straight off the power line, no gloves, is not touching anything, running those things with his knife and not getting shocked. He's got it. He's made the circuit. It's in his body, but there's no path for it to go anywhere but there. So the electricity is manageable, but it's not suggested.
Yeah, it can definitely be dangerous. You definitely have to know what you're doing. When I was a young tuck, just an apprentice starting off in electrical, ignorant, didn't know what I was doing,
right?
Still thought I was Superman, right? I made some mistakes.
Yep.
And it can hurt you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely can. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, we definitely seen worse than that. I mean, and we talked it up. Like, I thought for sure it was going to be like open burns.
Some melted.
Definitely open burns. So I don't know the scenario here, but I can give you a couple scenarios that I think might have affected that. One, he wasn't wearing his work boots. Two, obviously this guy's in the hospital bed.
Right. I
think this is a hospital bed somewhere, right? And then, because only hospitals put their outlets upside down, really. A lot of times when an electrician, you're working with a J-box overhead in a ceiling in a commercial setting, you're doing stuff here and there. You're working around the grid in the ceiling. So in this particular case, he could have had that ceiling grid running along his arm. and touch that wire, and that cause a path to ground, because that ceiling grid is going to building steel. It's connected somewhere to building steel, which that building steel is then bonded to ground. So that's my guess here on what happened. He's definitely lucky that it didn't break. It doesn't look like it broke the skin that much. I mean, it really doesn't look like a burn,
Honestly, it almost looks like a bruise, but it's probably just an internal burn.
He definitely could have some internal blistering, some internal damage there. So if he's working above the grid, most everything above the grid, 277.
277 definitely hurts. It hurts.
The longest I ever got stuck was working on a switch that was live. And I completed the path.
Oh yeah.
And and I was stuck on it, and it's not fun. It's definitely not fun. Number 4, I'll give you 2 days, but make it look like the Mona Lisa. Challenge accepted. How many times the customer goes, I need it now. I need it cheap, but I want it to be the best you've ever done.
Yeah.
Every
time.
Every time. Oh fuck. First of all,
I don't like the MC.
I don't give a fuck who you are. It's not going to take me 2 days. And I definitely don't like the MC. I'll give you 2 days.
This is the picture? You have 2 days to finish this?
You're going to give me 2... Although, I don't know, man. You might have to redo a whole bunch of stuff. So 2 days might not be enough.
I prefer conduit coming out of panels. It's serviceable at that. And you can't phase this. I like the right color wires being on the breakers that they should be on.
Exposed. You can't definitely got. I mean, it can't be exposed to damage. So I assume that they're going to be. There's a lot of things here. They definitely. Is this picture upside down? No, because there's a chair right here.
You think the Mona Lisa was more thought out than this?
This guy's fucking roping the house in a commercial setting. Fuck no. If I walked into there, I'd be like, you don't know what the heck. You have no idea what you're doing. You've never done any work before. And if this is what's going on in the trade right now, fired. All of them. All of them.
I just prefer conduit because how many times are we in a building or in a setting where we're trying to add a circuit to an existing panel and we need to pull a new circuit or we need to do something to get a circuit out of that panel.
Right.
You just fish down, pull a new circuit up to wherever that box is, and now you got a new circuit. You can run whatever you need to run up in the ceiling.
Yep. Now I see apprentices teaching apprentices, and it's garbage.
It's bad.
This is, my foreman would never, he was like, my journeyman, right? He told me, he goes, never, we don't bring MC into panel because if there's ever an issue with the circuit, you need to be able to pull it out. And he pointed out kind of like when you're bringing PVC out of concrete.
Oh yeah.
You got to have a rigid, if it's exposed, you got to have a rigid coupling, or it's got to come hard so that there's no damage happens, right?
Yep.
So here, maybe that's how they're getting away with it. Maybe they're not going, over and. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but for me, it's let's take it to a gutter and hard pipe into the panel. The gutter needs to be accessible. We can't get to this shit after the fact, pull it out, pull it in, whatever. There's no future.
Yeah.
There's no future for this customer.
I don't like it. It's not very easily serviceable.
Bill Hot, I don't know how long you've been doing this, but I would have done it different. I hope the inspector agrees with the way you've done it. But there's some things I see, if we're just talking about certain inspections, you're supposed to have a strap within 12 inches of entering a box. You don't have it. And then every 5 feet from there. It looks like you have some straps here. I can't tell what you're using to strap those things, but it's not to code in my book. I would probably have my apprentice rip it out and do it over and do it differently the way that I believe the code guidelines us to do things. All right. That's not up to code, is it? 15 wires going through one hole. It's not a main beam for sure. It's definitely supporting something upstairs. It's probably an upstairs, and it's in a house, so it's probably supporting there. I think this flies. I think this would fly. I can't see the rest of the holes, so I can't tell you. But I can't tell you there's a limit on how many Romexes can be ran together. I know that there are some spacing issues that you need to consider. and you look those up in your code book based on the type of raceway. So like when you think about when I'm looking in my code book, I'm in Article 324, right? Like so. Starting at Article 320 is Type AC, it's Armor Cat. Like every type of raceway that you can think of has a special article for it. Here's one for Type MI, here's Type MC, here's Type NM, MC, NM cables. Like all of those things, anything you have a question on, get in your code book, and you can know. Then the next picture you post, you'll be like, is this against code? Question mark? No. And now it'd say, this is against code per the NEC, Article 342, whatever it is, that's what you need to be doing. That's how you learn, not by posting it online, asking questions. We figure shit out all the time. We want to know it all. And I don't. I don't. How much of that do you know? I don't know it all.
And it changes every 3 years.
And it does change every 3 years. Most of those guys that work at Home Depot, I've heard Home Depot guys giving advice.
Oh man!
Where a customer comes in and is like, "I need a light above my garage."
I've stopped some. I've stopped them from talking before. I'm like, no, this is what you want. You want this, this, and this, and then you're just gonna run it like this.
Did you see that? Did you see that video of the guy at Lowe's giving instruction on how to bend a conduit? Oh, that's the next episode coming up. Next episode, we're gonna do that, and we're gonna go out and do it ourselves. We're gonna try to recreate his bend. Yeah, no, I've seen him go like, well, here you can use this box, and they'll pull up like a plastic PVC box, and then they'll be like, and then if you take this MC connector and just put it in the side, and then maybe put this, and then they'll take like the screw, a set screw connector, and he was piecing a set screw connector into a PVC box. He goes, wait, we just need an adapter. So then he got a PVC box. Now he's got a female adapter that he glued inside that.
Right.
And then he can put it. And then he can screw in his. And then he can screw in his EMT set screw connector to put his flex in and screw that down. And that's what he was. I was like, oh my god.
No.
I just gave the person a business card to say, hey, if you want it done right, give us a call. This strap would suffice, but I don't like this. What is this? Is that EMT? They just pounded down the EMT and bent over the edges and then ran an all thread through with a mini?
Built like a little tripod and put like a mini on it
that
out
looks,
of EMT?
That looks like they fucking... No. It ain't EMT. They do need a strap on that. Mm-hmm. It's code that you have to have a strap on that. And that was how they did it. That's fucking amazing. Like, I mean, the ingenuity... and the genius that electricians carry, anything's possible. I mean, so when you think about something like this, I would have probably just dropped a couple all threads down from the ceiling and just did a strut strap, or that's probably where I would have fucking supported it with an all thread from the ceiling with some strut straps and some unistrut. Or you could have built a frame out of the wall with some unistrut. Brought unistrut out.
Coming out. Yep.
This is hey, it's clever. It's clever.
Didn't want to make a Home Depot run.
Wait a second. That looks like it is from in Home Depot. Let's see. Oh, here it is right here. Tripod straps are allowable in any means necessary inside of anywhere they want to.
But you have to make sure that you completely flatten that EMT.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. You got to make sure that, and then you can only use...
Mounting instructions, C section 4. Let's see. Article 16 says, it's not available. Sorry, it's not in there. Here we go. On to the next one. All right. How the flooring guy at my parents' house plugged in his Xander. Dude, contractors suck. Okay, I just feel like technology is moving so fast, and the technology space is getting smarter. Like the technology itself is getting smarter, so it's allowing these guys to do stuff, to know things. Yeah, but just be dumb, right? Yeah. So really hands-on stuff like.
Everybody's watching YouTube videos to fucking come to your house and do tile work or whatever, plumbing work, whatever it is.
You want a light put in over there? No problem. Let me go to my truck and get my tools. YouTube. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
I can figure that out.
What parts do I need? Oh, there's a video of the guy at Home Depot with a PVC box, the connector, and all the shit. So you got idiots teaching idiots. All right, let's go. Oh, yes, I love it. It's just the neutral. I mean, it is current carrying conductor, but, it's fine. No, it's probably the range or something, right? It's probably in the kitchen, which comes... Well, that's not fucking right. So... Who knows? Is that a dryer or the range? Like somebody put that on the floor behind an appliance, I assume, which is probably the. I can't fucking tell.
This is his sander. He stabbed those wires into that plug.
I mean, he's making connect. That's his extension cord.
That's his extension cord. Yeah. He cut the end off of his extension cord.
He must have. Why wouldn't he just find a different outlet? Right, so it's a 120, 250 volt, something, right? So it's either 120 or 250 volt. It could be rated a 50 amp, you said?
50 amp, yeah. I think that's a 50 amp.
They also make that. They also make those prongs like that, like at an angle, and a 277 plug, 20 amp 277 volt plug. But that definitely looks like a 50 amp range. Mm-hmm. That's weird.
I don't know. It's just weird.
That's weird.
It's
I don't
just
have
weird.
that in my house. I don't have that plug in my house.
It's weird that it's on the ground too. Like it's just on the ground.
It's like to fit underneath it. But the flooring guy, he must be just refinishing, because he didn't get that.
Taking the baseboards off.
You take the baseboards off, so looks like this might be real wood. Is that real wood? I can't tell. But it looks like they sanded this down, and this is still stained in the back, so maybe they're refinishing. Definitely under remodel. I wouldn't do that. I mean, I have. Which camera am I confessing to? Our Father. I have sinned. I have done some shit. Right now. Ugh. Even right now, we just moved in a new place, so we're remodeling, and I put the landscape lights in, and I got my timer, my transformer, and and I got it on a photo cell, but I don't have power run because I want to replace my panel. I'm still waiting for permits. But I didn't run the power down, so I've got an extension, just a cord with a plug on it, tipped into my outlet so I can turn them on, just so when my wife come home,
that she could use them.
I've got a cord connector in the side,
There's nothing in here that says you can't do what you got to do to keep your wife happy, because
I think that's code number 1 is keep your wife happy.
Yeah. In life.
There are also some things that the jurisdictions, the AHJs, will allow you to do in a temporary setting. So there are some things that even the code says you can use in a temporary setting that's not a permanent installation. So depending on the situation, I would say this is a temporary setting. I don't think it definitely no. Definitely no.
Okay, so pull the extension cord.
Walk me through taking it out. How would you do that?
Turn the power off.
Okay, good. Then what?
Take it out.
The handle? Just take it out?
It doesn't matter at that point.
How would you know the power's off unless you tested it?
Because I'll throw my meter on that on that black wire, and then just on the side of that screwdriver.
Right, you put your meter inside the hole, and then you take the handle out. Then you take the hot off first. Then the neutral, then the ground. Ground always comes last.
So that you don't have to walk out to the panel, you could just take a different wire and hit the hot and the neutral together.
Yeah. It's called the breaker finder.
Breaker finder 3000.
Yeah. Oh man! All right, let's see. What do we got left?
Last one.
All right, last one. Let's see. I think I torqued my nut driver. Full throttle Aristotle. Oh, that's
good.
He's a poet.
That's
I
good.
like that. Full throttle Aristotle. All right, let's see what that. Holy shit! I have one of these in my bag. I have one of these. It's the nut driver. It's got all of the nuts in it. It's a monster nut driver.
That shows you how strong electricians are.
Facts. I think I've been through 6 of those. You're not supposed to laugh at that. This is what happens when you use your channel locks to try to fucking use
Yeah,
a hand
that's
tool.
exactly what happened. That's exactly
Like,
what happened.
First of all, those tools are made pretty stout, but it's probably been damaged, and then you probably used the channel locks to fucking wrench them up when you should just go get your fucking damn socket set.
Socket set, yep. Hey.
And you better have been breaking that off. You better have been breaking that while you're trying to get something off and not on. Because if you're using channel locks to tighten it, like you've gone way over the manufacturer's recommended torque specifications.
Right, and you don't want to just be breaking Klein tools. You don't want to just be breaking Klein tools. Those things are good. They're built well.
Lifetime warranty.
Yeah. Who sends in for those warranties?
What
You know me 11 and 1.
You take it back to you go to Home Depot, you buy yourself a new one, and you take it out to your truck, put it in your bag, and then you take your broken one, put it back in there. You go, I opened this up, and it was broken.
Don't do that.
That's the shit we see out in the field.
Uh-huh.
Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
That it? That's it. That's all for today. Stay tuned for next time.